On today's episode, we are going to take a look at NVIDIA. They are up almost 6% due to the big news that they are going to acquire ARM. So today's episode is going to be broken down into the following. First, we're going to take a look at who NVIDIA is. What are some of the products they hit? And I do think this is an important part to take a look at, because then we can understand why they are acquiring ARM and what's the benefit with this acquisition. The second point we're going to take a look at is who is ARM. Very similar to who is NVIDIA. We want to understand what they produce and how they can end up helping NVIDIA in the long term of things. Next, we're going to take a look at the deal and try to see what it entitles. Are there anything we should really keep an eye out? Is this deal 100% going to happen, or are there some things that might prevent it from going on? And at the end, I'm just going to give my overall thoughts on what I'm going to do with NVIDIA, if I'm going to continue to buy, if I'm going to sell off. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Like always, if you are new to my channel, if you're a long-term investor, if you like to learn about growth stocks, make sure to hit that subscribe button. To all my returning viewers, thank you so much for the support. And if you ever want to get in contact with me, YouTube comments, Twitter, Twitch, Discord channel, my newsletter at josenaharo.com. All the information that I provide is free, but remember, all of this is my opinions and I am by no means a professional, so make sure to talk to a financial advisor before making any decisions. So let's get started. And before we continue, guys, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. It helps the small channel out so much. And let me know what you guys think of NVIDIA right now. Are you guys kind of bullish, bearish? What are your thoughts on this deal? All right, so first, let's take a look at who is NVIDIA. This is ticker NVDA to all my podcast listeners, but I'm pretty sure everybody knows about the company. Right now, it has a market cap of about $318 billion. And year to date, NVIDIA has done amazing to investors. It's given over 100% returns. All right, so now let's take a look at the products NVIDIA hits. So NVIDIA is the maker of GPUs, graphical processing units. And these graphical processing units are used in multiple markets. The main markets that they hit is the gaming market, the data center market, the professional visualization market, and the automobile market. In the gaming market, right, their GPUs are used to allow gamers to play their games at high definition and to have the best visualizations. In the data center realm, they're used for high performance computing and artificial intelligence, and they're used by like every major cloud providers from Alibaba Cloud, Amazon, Azure, which is Microsoft, Baidu Cloud, IBM, Oracle, and Tencent. Then they have the professional visualization, and this is like the workstations. If you are a content creator, and content creator, I mean like game designer, engineer that works in design of buildings, an architect, or anything that requires high visualization software. Most of Autodesk, for example, all of Autodesk software uses some form of high power computing graphics card. The next one is Auto, and Auto is they're using this drive platform, which is using artificial intelligence, machine learning to help with autonomous vehicles. So these are the main markets that NVIDIA hits, and we're going to take a look at, hey Jose, how is this ARM company gonna help NVIDIA in the long term of things? So now let's take a look at ARM. And one thing I want to say though, before we take a look at ARM, NVIDIA is doing really well with acquisitions, in my opinion. They just recently acquired a company about 2 quarters ago called Mellanox, and Mellanox was a company that dealt with artificial intelligence. And this acquisition of Mellanox has helped NVIDIA increase their revenue in the data center world with artificial intelligence computing to a whole new levels. I think this quarter was the best quarter for NVIDIA in the data center, and it now makes more money in revenue compared to gaming. And many people would consider NVIDIA a gaming company, but we can see it is evolving from that into something much bigger. So now let's take a look at ARM and what does ARM do? And the best place to do it is to take a look at this interview that was done by the CEO of ARM. And this was an interview that was taken January 29th of 2019. So ARM is the most important chip company that does not make any chips. UK-based ARM produces low-power, high-performance chip architectures that is licensed to other vendors. Customers include like Apple, Samsung, Qualcomm. So ARM chips are found in most mobile phones. So in this question over here, Simon Sagars is the CEO. He mentions, We are the chip company that doesn't make chips, and we're often described as a semiconductor company. But in reality, we serve the semiconductor industry. We design the microprocessors, we design the compute and the intelligence that goes into so many of the products. If in the higher level of things, what ends up happening is ARM creates this brain. And this brain is pretty much empty, but they kind of create the way that brain interacts with each other, or how it talks to everything else. So then we have, for example, Intel, we have Apple. They now use this brain to put in all the information within their chips to work the way they want it to work. So like I think that's probably the best way to explain their product. They don't even make the brain, right? They just create the design for the brain. And now Apple can now take this design and go and put everything they need inside this brain, all the secret sauces that company has. And this is amazing, right? Because and many people might be like, Jose, why is this such a great thing? Why can't Intel, why can't Apple, why can't all these other semiconductor companies just make their own brain? That alone is a whole different process. That's going to require so much research and development. So the best thing to do is to outsource stuff like that. And if ARM is producing leading technology, then why go and try to battle it when you can just license their technology? All right, so now let's talk about the deal. So NVIDIA has announced on, I think this was Sunday, that they announced that they're gonna acquire ARM from SoftBank Corp. So right now, ARM is a private company owned by SoftBank, so they are going to acquire from them in a transaction valued at $40 billion. And the CEO did mention, one of the things I had the hardest understanding was how NVIDIA was going to use ARM. And the CEO of NVIDIA, Jensen, mentioned, he said, AI is the most powerful technology force of our time and has launched a new wave of computing. In the years ahead, trillions of computers running artificial intelligence will create new Internet of Things that is thousands of times larger than today's Internet of People. Our combination will create a company fabulously positioned for the age of AI. So NVIDIA is thinking 20 steps ahead, and that is why they are acquiring ARM. They also say that uniting NVIDIA's artificial computing capabilities with the vast ecosystem of ARM CPU, they can advance the whole cloud computing, smartphones, they can advance PCs, self-driving cars, robotics, the Internet of Things, and just overall expand artificial computing to every corner of the globe. So Jensen is no idiot, and this guy sees the huge potential with this deal. One thing though, it does seem like ARM and NVIDIA, even though it's going to be under NVIDIA, they want to be able to still be separate entities, and I will explain why this is such an important thing in the future. But ARM will continue to operate its open licensing model while maintaining the global customers' neutrality that has been foundation of its success. Remember, like I mentioned, ARM is used by almost every semiconductor company: Intel, Apple, AMD, Qualcomm. So it is kind of scary that NVIDIA wants to take over this company. So NVIDIA is saying, hey, we're going to let ARM continue to do its thing, and we're not going to change this neutrality where we're going to be the only ones with this product. We're still going to allow Apple, we're still going to allow AMD, Intel to use this licensing model. And this is how ARM actually operates. So what's the point of them changing things? And they're going to keep their bases in Cambridge. So it is a United Kingdom company, and all the intellectual property will remain registered in UK. So remember, I mentioned this was going to be close to a $40 billion deal. This $40 billion deal will be $21.5 billion in common stock. And I think this is such a great move by NVIDIA, because right now their stock price has been valued, it is at a very high valuation. So using this very high valuation stock as equity is such a smart move. They're using $12 billion in cash, which includes a $2 billion payable at signing. And NVIDIA shares to be issued will be close to 44.3 million shares, and is determined using the average closing price of NVIDIA's common stock for the last 30 trading days. Another thing, NVIDIA will also issue 1.5 billion in equity to ARM employees. That's actually pretty cool. Now I wish I was an ARM employee to get some more free shares of NVIDIA. So what's the bad thing about this deal? And like I mentioned, I think NVIDIA is there's going to be a lot of fights happening, because ARM is licensed over 500 different companies, like I mentioned. Qualcomm, Broadcom, Apple, Samsung, Intel, AMD, all these companies use ARM. So I do believe that all these companies are going to try to fight this off because they're going to be like, hey, you can't, you're going to end up making a monopoly. You're going to be able to destroy us in theory if you take off this neutrality deal that we have with ARM. So I do think that's going to kind of give some form of pushing on this ARM licensing deal. So there is a possibility that it might not happen. But NVIDIA did say that they will protect, and NVIDIA mentions though, right? They say, hey guys, we are in almost, our GPUs are in almost every clouding company, and every clouding company from Microsoft, AWS, Amazon, Tencent, we don't know how they use our technology. We don't care how they use our technology. So this confidentiality information will stay that same way. You don't have to worry about us having your information. You're just licensing the product. So I do think that's going to help things move along. But right now, they do believe that this whole approval, because it has to go through a regulatory through some form of approval process, and normally it takes about a little bit less than a year for approval things. But NVIDIA executives told analysts that they expect the approval to take about 18 months. So they're not saying that even though this acquisition is on the progress, they don't expect it to be completed for 18 months. From 18 months from now. So that's about 2022. That's a long time. So people are buying into this company right now, have increased the stock price of NVIDIA, even though this deal can either be rejected, and if it doesn't get rejected, the approval can take almost a year and a half. All right, so now my thoughts on the deal. If you guys don't know, NVIDIA is one of my tier 1 stocks. And tier 1 stocks in my portfolio are those companies that have the highest conviction in my portfolio with the biggest holdings, and the ones I am continuing to buy on a daily, on a timely basis. It might not be every week, but are the positions I will continue to buy because I see the most potential growth with them and with the least amount of risk at the same time. So NVIDIA is a tier 1. If this deal doesn't take place, it will still be a tier 1 for me. If this deal does take place, it will 100% continue to be a tier 1 stock for me, where I will continue to buy. We see that this deal is not taking place anytime soon, or it's not expected to be approval anytime soon, so there is time. So for me, if I did not have a position in NVIDIA, I would play it just how I play almost every single of my stocks. I will dollar cost average. I right now, we're sitting at almost all-time highs. I personally, and again, this is me, this is just my opinion, I wouldn't buy all in at once. I just buy on a timely manner and dollar cost average, because NVIDIA, it is in markets I believe will continue to grow. To me, the main markets it's in is the gaming and the data centers, and those two, and artificial intelligence. Those three markets are ones I continue to see potential growth in. And by having this ARM deal with or without the ARM deal, I see that I don't see much difference in it. With this ARM deal, I do believe it will help NVIDIA push into those markets even stronger. So I do wish this deal continues. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Like always, let me know in the comments, what do you guys think about today's deal? Are you bullish on NVIDIA? Do you guys want the deal to happen, or are you guys against the deal? Like always, make sure to hit that thumbs up. It helps the channel so much. And make sure to subscribe, guys. So good night and see you next time.